As long as you keep engaging in the same loop, repeating the same patterns over and over again, you won't even realize it. But at some point in your life, if it hasn't already happened, you'll be forced to take a step back and see that what you're currently involved in isn't fulfilling because you didn't choose it. And when I finished my degree and got the 9 to 5 that comes with it, I had never felt so lied to in my whole life. It's like everything they had been saying for the past 10 years was fake. Go to school, get good grades, go to college, and get a stable job. And I don't know, you're supposedly going to be happy. I had checked all the boxes, yet my reality couldn't be further from what I had envisioned for myself. And I realized that this path wasn't designed to make me happy. More than that, through personal experimentation, I've discovered three hard truths that you need to be aware of if you want to reshape your life under your own terms. First of all, your current life isn't designed for you to be happy. And to gain this insight, you need to break the cycle. This means putting yourself on purpose in an uncomfortable state, where you have to be completely honest with yourself and decide to take a different look at your current life. You must purposefully decide to create a rupture in your life. You need to dive into the feelings, and you can do that in the same environment that's driven by your old reflexes. Now, this rupture can take a different form for different people. For me, it was quitting my job. For others, it might be just switching location, ending a relationship, or simply taking a walk in an unknown area. It doesn't have to be so dramatic at first, but the stronger the automatic cycle, the stronger the rupture needs to be. Because the goal ultimately is to disrupt your robotic thought patterns and bring back your focus and attention. And in my case, I decided that I needed a significant rupture. I had to create enough space to rethink my life, which led me to quit the job that I got right out of university. And when something that's deciding the rhythm of your life disappears, it leaves an empty space, kind of like a big hole. Now you have to expect the crash because humans are very poor at managing exposure to the unknown. And deciding to rupture your life's continuum like this will likely be one of the most anxiety provoking decisions you'll ever make, as it certainly was the case for me. But what happens is that from there, you'll gain enough space for you to rethink your life. What do you enjoy? What do you want to do with your life? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? What about the past 10 years? Were those years aligned with your goals? If so much time has passed and you don't have a clear vision yet, the goal isn't to make the perfect plan and stick to it. The goal is just to periodically assess where you are and if what you're currently doing is in sync with your life's mission. This period of time will be a struggle, making you feel like you've made a mistake. But most of the time, that's just your brain trying to convince you to return to the known and the comfort because this feels way too overwhelming. Chances are that you didn't make a mistake as long as you didn't put yourself in any dangerous situation. Because when you break the cycle, you expose yourself to maximum potential for personal growth. And the truth is that you won't change unless you have to. And by disrupting your day to day life, you are far more likely to provoke that change. And you have to confront yourself to your reality and your current identity. Thanks to the awareness you'll also get to see these gaps in your reality and the difference in the identity from where you stand right now and where you want to be ultimately. You probably couldn't see them before because you were stuck in those automatic thought patterns. I also call this the autopilot mode because when you're performing the same actions over and over again and you're being absorbed by the fast life, you don't have the time or the headspace for that matter to objectively think about your life, your goals, your aspirations, and everything that you're doing on a day-to-day basis. And at some point, you'll inevitably have to face the fact that your current life is probably not what you had envisioned for yourself. Because the person that has created this life has changed. You've evolved, your mindset is probably different, and maybe you just don't want the same things anymore. Or maybe you've even never asked yourself what you truly wanted. Scary thought to realize that you don't know yourself as well as you thought you did. And when you decide to trigger that rupture point, you'll be instantly confronted to your true self. But if ultimately you want a life full of meaning, I think the sooner the better. You have to confront yourself to your current situation. To me, this initial leap is the first step towards discovering what brings meaning into your life. It's the trigger for a significant boost in awareness. Your brain is also not designed to make you happy. It's just designed for adaptation and survival. And the second truth is that you have to accept that happiness is not the primary goal of your brain. Adaptation is. And in a world that doesn't come with a manual for guaranteed happiness, it's entirely up to you to craft your own path. And I feel like often we're raised with the belief that following our passions and our dreams will lead us to happiness. But the reality is far more complex. But passion, happiness, and all those complex emotions are regulated by your brain. And when you understand how it works, you drastically increase the chances to trigger those emotions. But the thing is that it takes time, probably way more time than you think it does. And that's just the reality of it. Because when it comes to tweaking the architecture of your brain, you have to be patient. A problem that I see with the self improvement industry right now, I think that the extensive content out there makes it seem easy and rapid. Because if you want to make any change sustainable, you have to rewire your brain, and self help gives you the initial tools to get to that situation where you can actually start to rewire your brain. That being said, it cannot compress the time that the process takes, but the path is only yours to walk on. You see, your brain has been shaped by your experiences from the moment you were born up until now. It is highly plastic and malleable, especially if you're under 25 years old. And it is continuously adapting to your current environment and to the stimuli that it receives on a daily basis. In neuroscience, this is known as neuroplasticity. It's the ability of your brain to physically reorganize its structure according to the stress of the environment. This can change your life, and at the same time, it can also be the reason why your life stays exactly the same. Adaptatively, your brain wants to be as efficient as possible in the tasks you engage in frequently. That's why there's an autopilot mode. When you're on autopilot, you don't have to think about what you're currently doing. You're doing it unconsciously. Therefore, you're saving a lot of mental energy. But the problem is that there's no plasticity needed when you're on autopilot. Your brain doesn't have to learn, therefore, it doesn't adapt. And if you want to trigger that plasticity, you have to expose your brain to a new condition that will override autopilot and drive adaptation. Now, you don't have to pack your bags and move to Brazil in order to do this, but you need to make significant change in your lifestyle. And you have to do this deliberately. You must take on a new challenge and force your brain into learning things. Otherwise, it'd be too lazy to do so. And that might depend on the current reality of your life and the speed with which you desire to change. It can be as simple as taking a dance class, or as extreme as packing your bags, quitting your life, and moving on a different continent, for example. The more extreme the change in the environment, the more adaptation your brain has to undergo, which means potentially more plasticity will occur as a result. Finally, modern life is not designed to make you happy. A world dictated by money and status does not operate in your best interests. However, this doesn't mean that life is supposed to make you feel miserable or that the system is to blame if you're unhappy right now. It also doesn't mean that you cannot achieve your own definition of happiness within the system. What it truly means is that the system has not been created for your happiness specifically. And this is crucial to understand because it highlights why you shouldn't rely on the terms of normal life to bring your happiness. Because the life that surrounds you as you know it, it was never designed for that purpose. Modern life is engineered for growth, efficiency, and speed of execution. So it's your duty to build a life that you want to fulfill your dreams and desires. And if you blindly follow the path that society has laid out for you, you'll end up exactly where it wants you, which is probably far from your ideal destination. And by recognizing that it's your responsibility and yours alone, you reclaim control over your life. And you'll gain agency if you accept to take on this responsibility. In the end, the ultimate recipe for a shallow life is to avoid taking any responsibility, leading you to feel powerless over the outcomes of your life. And I think that a common misconception is to believe that modern life is somehow supposed to make you happy. And I get that. I'm no exception. I've felt that way too. And because of that, people look at their lives, they think about their dreams, they see the gap, and they just realize that their day to day experience reflects no happiness or meaning whatsoever. No, they look at their lives, and what they realize is that there's a huge gap. Because if you consider the typical life, it looks something like this: you wake up at 7, hit snooze 3 times, you skip breakfast, grab coffee on the way to work, sit in traffic, work, then go home and numb out with distractions. The 9 to 5 routine and the evolution of manual labor certainly wasn't designed to make you happy. It was designed to keep society functioning. It's no surprise then that the majority of people do not enjoy their jobs or even despise them. Working is useful. In fact, it's even mandatory because it brings financial stability. But the danger is in betting on your job to make you fulfilled. And that's the mistake that I made. I took the job, the 9 to 5, and I made the mistake to push on my job the responsibility to make me happy. But a job that I had never been created for that purpose. Just like money wasn't designed to make you happy, it was designed to facilitate trades. And status wasn't designed to make you happy. It was designed to indicate your position in the social hierarchy. And you can go down the rabbit hole if you want to. I believe that ultimately you have to confront yourself to the fact that nothing in this modern world is intentionally designed for you to be happy. And that's when you come to realization that if you're relying on external factors to bring meaning into your life, I think that you're mistaken. So if your life, your brain, and your society haven't been designed for you to achieve happiness and fulfillment, what the hell are you supposed to do with your life? Now, this can sound overly dramatic and pessimistic, but that's the lever I think you need to pull in order to support the next conclusion that will hopefully come up. It is your duty to make your life full of meaning and happiness. It is not the responsibility of any system, relationship, or job. It's yours only. And if you're the one in charge, it means that you're the only one who can make this happen, as you're also the only one to blame if you screw this up. So I hope this helps. Trust the process.